Hello, hello, my gorgeous friends. Welcome back. I'm Tara Kindon, Cosmic Mentor, bringing you the astrology, the human design, and the Venus star point. So, what we're going to talk about today is this beautiful full moon that's happening in Gemini. This is happening tomorrow. I'm recording this on Saturday, December 14th. So, December 15th, early in the morning is when it will be happening. But what we always need to do on a full moon is remember this is where everything blooms. This is where the illumination happens. But we go back 6 months and we look at the new moon that happened in Gemini. So back in June, it was actually on June the 6th was when we had a new moon in Gemini. I'm going to talk to you about the astrology of that as well. We're going to look at the astrology. We're going to look at the human design, and we have to talk about the Venus star point because that happened 2 days before the new moon. So what I'm going to get you to do is go back right now, pause this, go back in your phone, look at pictures from June, early June, see what you were up to, because now you've gained new insights, new information. Something has come to the full fruition of what you started back in June. Okay, now let's dive into the astrology first. Then we're going to hit the human design, and I'm going to talk to you about the energy of the Venus star point that also got activated. Okay, now you should be able to see the new moon in Gemini. I'm going to start here because I want you to see some of the fabulous things, that were blooming in the sky at the time. So 2 days before this new moon that happened on June the 4th, we had a new Venus star point being born in Gemini at 14 degrees. So Venus star points in Gemini are about our communication. They're about fast, witty, information. So maybe you started a YouTube channel, maybe you started a podcast, maybe you got more clever with your Instagram and you were doing reels or things like this. Short, fast communication is a really beautiful energy to embody when we have a Venus star point in Gemini. It's the twins, right? So there are new ways of seeing things, thinking about things, speaking about things, and it can be very fast and exciting. One of the other things I want to note was that both Jupiter and Mercury were in Gemini. So you can see the stacked Gemini house that was happening back in June, which was getting you exciting. All these new ideas were flowing. All these new things were happening. You were starting new projects, or at least thinking about some new things you wanted to bring into your life. Now, also, all of that energy, mainly the new moon, was making a beautiful trine down to Black Moon Lilith and the South Node. So we were also thinking about things we needed to let go of. And Libra's about relationships. So maybe you let go of a relationship. Maybe you let go of a way you were being in relationship, because when Black Moon Lilith is involved, the suppressed or repressed feminine, she comes forward and she's trining up to Venus. So this could have been an awakening in your divine feminine energy, which I, like to think that was happening for all of us at that time and continues now. So we also had Pluto in Aquarius. And remember, he came in, he went out, and now he's back. He had made it to 1 degree, almost 2 degrees at that point when that new moon happened in Gemini. So he's back into Aquarius again. And at that time, he was also making a connection to Jupiter. So just this was what happened in June. Okay. Think about for yourself what was going on, what was happening, because some of that may now be, you might now have more information, or you might now be complete with certain things. Or, for example, I just like, we were building a greenhouse. Well, now we're in winter, so that greenhouse is kind of closed up. So that was something like we built it, it bloomed all summer, it actually still has things blooming in it, and now it's kind of going dormant, right? So the energy is sort of completed the cycle that it was completing from that June time. All right, now let me show you the full moon chart. So I'm actually going to swap these, and I'm going to get rid of this one for now. So this is the full moon in Gemini. You look at this energy, you see Pluto back in Aquarius, but Venus, who was in Gemini, is now in Aquarius. Okay. We have Mercury, who was in Gemini as well, now retrograde in Sag. But the moment this full moon, like not long after this full moon is over, we're going to have Mercury go direct. So he's been revamping, revisiting, rethinking, reworking. He's caused a lot of confusion for people currently, right? But now we're going to have more direction. So when we look at this full moon, we've got Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and these. So the energy of the mind has been really swirling in confusion a little bit, even. So we're going to get more clarity of the mind, which is going to feel very empowering instead of, for some, it's been disempowering, right? What else that I want to say is that Jupiter is now at 15 degrees of Gemini, right? And the Mercury was in Gemini, so now they're in what we call in this full moon in mutual reception. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, okay? And Jupiter's in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So they kind of are house sitting for each other. They're, Jupiter's watering the plants, Mercury's taking care of the pets, like all of the things, but they're being mutually respectful of each other's homes while talking and being in communication, right? Like, hey, did you make sure to do this? Did you do this in my place? Yeah, no problem. They're working together here. So that is a very powerful energy because when they're working together here, Mercury is working on the bigger vision as he's in Sagittarius, expanding it. But this has felt a little confusing, and that clarity is going to come through once Mercury begins to move direct again, because he's been working with some ideas, before he went retrograde in November. So you can even look to November. What was beginning to percolate for me back in November, and then I reworked it, revised it, revisited it, and now it's going to go forward. I'm going to feel a little bit more forward momentum in the energy, which is going to feel satisfying. And of course, Jupiter is also retrograde, and he's in Mercury's house, and he's thinking about, okay, well, what are we expanding here? He's still feeling maybe a little bit confused on how he wants to take it to the world and communicate it to the world, the ideas that they've been sharing back and forth. So that's kind of a fun energy and an exciting thing to know. Like, it's going to begin to move forward. Now, this little slowdown that we're having over the holiday season is actually such a gift and a blessing in disguise, because it's giving us a little grace and a little time to put things together before we feel like we have to be in action, or moving things forward really powerfully. Like, we can take a hot beat here and just take a breath and be like, okay, what are we doing? What are we wanting to move forward? And how do we want to do that? Okay. So there's some energies for you to think about. And also, right before this full moon happens, the moon and Jupiter connected. So you can see now that the moon during this full moon, it's opposite the sun. That's how we know it's a full moon, but they were connected. So hours before this, they had their conjunction. When moon and Jupiter conjunct, this is a blessing. This is a, go and buy the thing you've been wanting to buy, or invest in yourself in a way, invest in your knowledge, invest in your understanding of how you're going to teach something even. So if you've been wanting to kind of take a course or jump into like a membership or anything like this, then maybe a beautiful blessing beforehand and even after to do so. So that is also something I want to put out there for you to think about while you are processing all of this energy. We still have a grand fire trine, which has kind of been going on for widely for a couple of days. So yeah, there is all this fire, but the fire is a little slower. It's not a wild burn. It's more of like a slow burn energy. So we haven't had the motivation that a normal fire trine would bring to us, just because we have two planets in that trine that are retrograde, and we're actually in the node here, wanting to move us forward in Aries, but there's just a little bit of a slowdown in how we're going to move forward. But once Mercury goes direct after this full moon hits, you will start to feel a different energy light up, and more of your intuition start to kick in, because the moon will move into Cancer. Now, let's look at the human design chart. Okay, my friends, so you should be able to see the full moon in Gemini human design chart now. If you're brand new to human design, deep breaths, let's go through some of the basics, and then we're going to run through the planets so that you have an idea of the energy flowing here. We're going to look at the conscious energy, like what we're feeling in the personality side now, as opposed to the design side. This is the information you came in with from your genealogy, from genetics, all the things, right? This is what's running in the background always, but what we're looking at in this chart is what you're feeling and experiencing here in the now and in this present moment where the energies are. We also have these running down the center. These are called your centers. In human design is a synthesis of basically 5 different systems, right? So the centers were chakras split. It's like a couple of the chakras split. So you have here your ajna, third eye, throat chakra. This is called the G center, which was the heart chakra splitting into 2, where we have, the will center here, and then your G center, your identity center, if you will. And then we had the solar plexus chakra, which split into 2 centers, giving you the splenic center and also the emotional solar plexus center. And then you also have your sacral and your root. Okay, so if you want to learn more about that, DM me. I do have a human design course that you can take. So that is also something available to you if you want to learn more. Now, here's the energies that we have. So when we look to the sun is sitting in gate 11. This is the gate of ideas. And remember, right now the sun is sitting in Sagittarius. So big ideas. And think about the archer drawing back the arrow to let it shoot towards the sky. So many ideas, all of these things rolling through your mind right now. So get an ideas book. If you don't have an ideas book, get a book. I don't even have one on my desk, but I went to the dollar store and just bought this beautiful book that I love. And I write all of my ideas in there, because sometimes, like, I have this energy natally, so I get too many ideas. They're not all for me, so I share them with others. You may be getting ideas here for yourself that could be shared with others. If you are feeling a little overwhelmed in the ideas, there's this way to ground yourself by looking at what gate is being activated by the earth. And right now it's gate 12. Well, gate 12 runs off the throat center. Okay. I hate how this thing lights up. That drives me nuts. I don't know how to turn it off. But anyway, so the throat chakra is really bringing in information from your highest self, God, source, spirit, whoever you want to connect with. This higher version of you is channeling through this information. And one way for you to stay grounded is to just allow yourself to be open and receptive to receive that information, right? And if you're speaking it out and it's coming very quickly and clearly, it's perfectly on time. If you're stumbling over your words as you're trying to get things out, it just isn't the right time. So that's where you can take the ideas and put them in your book. Okay. The North Node, which you remember is in Aries right now, is in the gate of spirit, running off this G center, the heart center. So we're really connecting to a sense of spirit and self and source, and allowing yourself to be resourced by spirit. If you don't have a spiritual connection, this can be as simple as when you're washing dishes, enjoying, your mind running wild, when you're driving, and sometimes your mind goes on a journey, or if you're walking in the woods, anything like this can be considered a connection to spirit. What is your spiritual connection for you? Lighting a candle can be a spiritual experience. Okay. The South Node is in the gate of embodiment. This is about us learning how to be in our body and respecting the vessel that is our body, that gets us from A to B, that holds all of our beautiful organs, that keeps us in this physical world. Do we have respect for that body? And how are we embracing and taking care of that body? That's what we're working on with that South Node piece. We've learned a lot, and now we're using that information to be able to be in connection to spirit. Like, yeah, I'm in the physical, I have this physical body, but I'm also this. We're never one or the other. We're always balancing the polarities. And that's the thing when we look at the astrology chart. Yes, like, Mercury's in Sag, and opposite to that is Jupiter in Gemini. We're not one or the other here. We're balancing these energies. So even though, yes, This is a full moon in Gemini. Like there is so much more to this moon than just that. Like it's all encompassing. So remembering that can give you some grace. Like if you have a bad day and you say something you didn't mean to, well, okay, we're going to balance into the center, into the heart, and come back to, well, what would have felt better for me? And you get to redo, revise, revisit all the things, especially if you've been saying things during Mercury retrograde that you regret. Deep breaths, this too shall pass. So the moon is in gate 12 as well. Remember, gate 12 is that channeling energy, being able to receive information from other places, and that we're very connected to that energy through your heart. The moon is our emotional set point, how we feel about things, how we feel in our heart is what helps us to become even more magnetic, right? So paying attention to the energy of like, how do I feel? Like the next couple of days could feel very overwhelming. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't stuff that down. Don't eat the feelings away. Don't drink too much or let yourself escape, because Neptune right now can cause some escapism. So I will talk about that. Mercury's in the gate 9, which is the gate of convergence. So remember, Mercury's in Sag. Very big ideas, very big thinking, and just watch that you're losing sight, or you're getting so focused on the minor details instead of the bigger picture. Okay, I see the bigger picture. I only have so much energy. Where do I want to focus and harness the power of my energy into something creatively, whatever it is? Now, Venus is in the gate 19. This is a very powerful gate. She's very connected to the animal kingdom here. She's very connected and attuned to the environment. She can sense things. So how do you turn on your intuition? Well, it comes from trust first. Do you trust yourself? Let's say you get this message and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. I'm not sure where that even came from. Well, that's that attuning. You're so tuned in to the vibrations and the frequencies of the environments that you're in or the people that you're around. Just think about this. Wherever you're leaning more into, that's meant for you right now. Wherever feels a little icky or you want to step away from it intuitively. Just know that she is leading you where you're meant to be energetically. And just because you're moving away from people, places, or things at this time does not mean it will be forever. It just means that maybe right now your energy is requiring a little bit more space. Okay. So Mars here is in the gate 31. And I want you to think about that he is retrograde. Okay. So Mars is currently retrograde in Leo. This is the gate of the leader. This is a gate that runs off the throat chakra as well. You are a powerful leader, and sometimes you forget how powerful you are. You have to remember that we are learning how to lead, and he's retrograde in this gate right now. So it's even more confirmation that, sometimes when you feel like the wheels are off the bus and you don't feel confident and you don't feel capable, there's a part of you, like there's this alpha part of you, of all of us. Remember, the sun is what rules Leo. So that is the masculine part of us right now when we're looking at Mars. And he wants us to be leading, but he's learning how to lead in a more beautiful, communicative, feminine way. And that requires creativity. It requires space. It requires us to own that alpha power part of us. And this isn't an aggressive energy. This is like when you're in a puddle on the floor and then you have that realization, all right, I got to get off the floor and move forward. Like I've done enough crying or whatever. And now it's time for me to do something about it. This is where we're learning to find that fine balance between letting ourselves be in the puddle and letting ourselves lead. When is that time? And only you will know. It's an intuitive thing, but it's just something to be aware of while he's moving through this gate of leadership, right? The leader. Okay. Jupiter, who you know is in Gemini, is in the gate of experience. How do we use some of these experiences that we've had in our lives that have felt completely overwhelming? How can we give them a brand new narrative? How can we rewrite the stories to the experiences that we have had? That it doesn't need to how do I say this in a way that like will be well received? So sometimes we go through really shitty experiences, and we sit in the shit of that shitty experience. I'm going to say this in obviously such a delicate way. And we victimize ourselves in that experience, right? But sometimes there's an opportunity, like sometimes it just, you can't, you're not in a place to rewrite it. But when you get on the other side of that shitty experience, sometimes you can look at it with new eyes and see the experience for where it took you. Like sometimes you have to go through a really horrible breakup to be able to make space for a wonderful new partner that is going to treat you the way you deserve to be treated. And now you have a new narrative about relationship. So you get a chance right now, while Jupiter is also retrograde, to think about the narratives and create your transformations, if that makes sense. Hopefully that made sense. When we look at Saturn, Saturn's in gate 63. Gate 63 is really about us playing in the space of curiosity. And the nice thing about being curious is we're not judgmental in curiosity, right? Right now, Saturn is hanging out in Pisces. So this is where we can be a little bit more creative, have a little bit more flow, play a little bit. I like to think of Saturn in Pisces as a beautiful opportunity for those who say things like, I'm not creative, to actually understand that we are all creative beings having a creative experience in this moment right now. But we forget we had to cut off parts of our creativity to shove ourselves in boxes that don't suit us, don't fit us, and feel awkward and conforming. That now, we're starting to break free from that. And you're feeling some of this lifting happening. So enjoy the curiosity. Let yourself be curious about things. I wonder. I wonder why that's coming up right now. I wonder, just playing in that space of curiosity. Now, Uranus, my friends, is in gate 23 and has been here for some time. This is where we're getting all kinds of insights, information, electric energy that we don't know what to do with half the time because it's so forward thinking. It's so it's like, it's just so out there, some of this information you're receiving, and it's very hard to talk about it with everyone. So if you're here, you understand a little bit of the woo, you're like, yeah, I get it, I love it. You understand certain aspects of it. You try to talk about this to someone who is so closed off to this idea that we're more than just this. You know what I mean? And that can be very frustrating. So how do you use the energy of that Uranus, especially now, because we're wanting to chat, we're wanting to be social, we're wanting to talk about the things. This is that, Gemini energy. It's like, where have you not been speaking up or saying the things? And you're getting this almost electric bubbling. So for those of you who are feeling anxious, who are feeling a little panicked, who are feeling like you're freaking out a little bit, number one, go and buy this Bach flower remedy. It's called Rescue Remedy. It is a beautiful way to calm your nerves in a very natural way. Uranus is the nerves, right? Uranus is the electrical system that runs within us, okay? This masculine electric running system that is always firing and always creating new things. It's a beautiful energy if you're channeling it in the correct way. So try that out. Lean into the pouring your excess energy into things that feel good for you. So like if your house is a wreck, go and put that extra nervous energy into cleaning things up, or writing or creating or doing something, right? That will feel more settling to your system. Now, okay, let's talk about Neptune, because Neptune can be this illusion and delusional planet. He can also, on his higher octave, be the energy of emotional contentment. He can also bring us in connection with our highest version of self. And this is a very emotionally connected energy. He's in the gate running off of the emotional solar plexus. This is where your feelings are everything. And this gate is called the gate of exploration, sorry. So it's giving us an opportunity to emotionally align with some things by going through some chaotic experiences. Now, chaos, I use the word chaos very lightly because chaos, it's like things break apart before we can find a new way to pull them back together, if that makes sense. And so, as things seem like it's very chaotic, you're exploring new options, you don't know which way to go. It's like you're walking around in a dark room, tripping over furniture. And sometimes you just need a light to switch on. So, when you can feel into, ooh, okay, this feels, very nerve-wracking or very unsettling, or I feel like it should look like this, but it's looking like this. It's take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Mercury, like Gemini is rules the lungs. Okay, so think about taking a deep breath. This full moon is asking us take a full breath and find some gratitude for just how far you've come. Because you've come far, baby, like even from June. And I just want you to know how far you've come, how powerful you are, how capable you are of creating and transforming whatever is in front of you that you don't like right now. Don't focus your energy on what's not working. Focus your energy on what actually is working. Things shift faster from that place. So the last one I want to talk about, I mean, Pluto's been in this gate 60 for like what feels like forever. And even though, yes, he's moved into Aquarius and this energy has a new flavor, he's in this gate of conservation, which is down here on the root. Okay. So as he's sitting in this energy, you feel this stirring. You feel this, what am I going to do with all this energy? If you think about the Kundalini energy, that snake is coiled up in the root chakra. So this energy, I feel like, is beginning to rise for quite a few of you. If you're in midlife, if you've had your Uranus opposition, you are feeling this energy beginning to bubble and rise, right? And this can be an exciting time. It can be an electric time. It can also be a very nerve-wracking time. So again, Bach flowers, my friends. The rescue remedy is the cure. I shouldn't say that. It's not the cure. It's very helpful. Okay. It's very helpful. Now, the other thing is the gate of shock. This is where Chiron is, and Chiron is at 19 degrees currently. He is still conjunct Hygeia. So there is this element of, and again, Aries energy, the trailblazer, the leader, moving things forward. So there's a powerful energy here. But if you're a person who's been doing, going, and you have not been taking care of yourself, you're getting the universal smackdown right now. Okay. If you're tired, if you're feeling like you just don't have the energy for the things, go in and give yourself the gift of taking some stuff off of your plate and filling up your own cup. What does that look like? I mean, it can be as simple as like go and sit in the sun for 10 minutes. Do something for yourself that's lovely that you just don't. If you got to go pee, go pee. You know what I mean? If you've been the kind of person who sits at your desk and you sit there until you get all the things done and you've almost peed your pants by the end of the day, take a break. All right, my friends, I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to come back to you quickly and I'm going to close this out by looking again at the astrology. And then I'm just going to say peace out and enjoy this full moon. Again, you've kind of heard the energy of where things are in the human design chart, where it may be showing up in your body, how you may be feeling the things. I mean, human design helps you to feel, okay, where in the body is that showing up? Where the astrology is foundational. It's like almost like the ground we're walking on, the foundation of your home, right? How it sits and it's sturdy and it's solid and it's structured. And then that human design is that next level layer. And then your Venus star point, which is like how you really shine, iridescently. How it's the irreplaceable artwork within the home. Okay, so I want to try to keep it simple, which I know I have a hard time keeping it real simple with these very complicated topics, but let's pull a couple of cards here just to see, what else is on deck if I've missed something and Spirit needs you to know something else about these vibes, about these energies, because I get really excited. And right now there's a rainbow on my cards. You probably can't even see that, of course. But okay. Let's see what's up. Let's see what's up. What's the first card here? It's the restore card, which is exactly what I mentioned. I think we could all use this restoration. Take a moment, go in, water yourself, Go pee. Do the thing. All right, next up is the Be Free card. So wherever you felt like you've been in this self-imposed prison, it's time for you to break free, to climb up that ladder and get the hell out of that space as fast as possible. Hey, maybe you've seen something, someone's shown you their true self. The inner child card is also here. And I do think there could be a finality, a healing, a letting go, and a final release. I feel that in my heart as I say that. So I do think some of you may be really needing to just give yourself the gift of a judgment-free zone. If there are things that you're going through or that you've experienced that you just need a little extra love on, give them to yourself. And then one more, the Be Fearless card. This is that leadership card. This is taking all of these things that you've been working on. I mean, some of you have been on this like healing journey for what feels like a lifetime, and you probably have been, but it's almost like seeing now, wow, all of these things brought me to this place and I get to make that decision. Am I going to, harness this energy and this power and ride the dragon, or do I want to sit here and soak in it, right? I hope you ride the dragon. I hope you find that fearless energy within yourself during this full moon, and any nervous energy, any hectic energy, any energy that's got you shaken, rattle, and rolling. Harness the power of that and use it to your advantage to create more beauty, abundance, and magic in your lives. So I also just want to mention too that the doors are open to Celestial. So if you love these cosmic conversations, if you want to be connected to community, if you want to learn about your human design, learn about your astrology in a non-judgmental, easy, wild woman, owning that divine feminine energy kind of way, then the doors to Celestial are now open. And I am looking forward to having some of you jump on in there because it's a really magical space. The women who are already in there are so generous, so kind, so loving. And I know a lot of you right here are feeling the same thing and just looking for some support as we launch into 2025. It's only 2 weeks away. I know it's absolutely crazy. The nodes are going to be shifting. We got eclipse season's going to come in, like all of the things. We got a lot of big energy, a lot of big outer planets moving into new signs, which is also going to shake up and rattle up our worlds. So that's it. I want to invite you in if you feel called and you need extra support. You're excited to be in community and you're feeling like you want to do this journey in a less alone way. It will be here for you. I'm going to put the link down below this video. And of course, you can always find me on Tara Kindon Co. on Instagram. So be in connection. Send me a DM. Let me know what's up. Let me know how you like this video. Thank you everyone so much for being here. And I hope you enjoy this full moon in Gemini.